Hi, welcome to Community Hotline. This is a special version of Community Hotline called The Pulse. I'm Monica Weitzel. We're here at MetroEast Community Media in Gresham, Oregon. And joining me tonight for The Pulse is Taj Middleton. Thank you.
So happy to be back.
I'm glad you're here. We do this, once a quarter?
Yes. And I wasn't able to come the last quarter.
I know, you were very much missed.
I know. Well, I didn't know that I figured I was missed.
You were. Oh, people called in like crazy just to let us know that they missed you.
The phones were lighting up.
They were. But it's nice to have you back. And so on the Pulse version of Community Hotline, we talk about stuff going on at MetroEast and KZME Radio.
And we've got a lot to talk about.
We have a lot to talk about.
Because this is a big year for us.
It is, and we'll talk about it a little more, but what makes it a big year?
It's the 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
30 years of MetroEast Community Media.
That's a pretty big deal.
It hasn't always been called MetroEast Community Media.
No, that's true. That's true. Back in the day, but we'll talk about that a little more.
Exactly. I'm jumping.
Before we get to that, our production team has been super involved with a whole bunch of stuff. They always have stuff going on, and it's basketball season.
Yes.
You know, we're getting ready for March Madness
big
here pretty
production.
soon
Yes,
in the big college leagues. But on the high school level, Keith Thomas, our producer here, is kind of the lead man for our basketball coverage for the Mount Hood Conference, and they have done 6 games, both boys and girls, and we have live coverage of those. They have play-by-play. They have interviews. It's pretty impressive, actually.
It's impressive and it's intense. If you've ever been out to their whole setup, I mean, now we've got different equipment, so they don't have to quite pack up the whole studio.
Right.
But they pack up a lot of equipment and they set everything up. It's a real top-notch professional production.
You can tell that by those pictures.
I'm telling you. And when it's all said and done, there's this game with these beautiful graphics, and the kids just shine.
Yeah.
The young people shine.
The young people
people
shine. They do a great job. That's really fun to watch. And besides being on our channels, it'll be on YouTube as well. So another thing we're doing is election coverage.
Yes.
I know this isn't a presidential election year, but it is. There are elections, and May 20th is we have elections. I think if you're in Portland, we've got there's some. Let me look here. We have a couple different things going on. The Portland Public Water District is going to be on the ballot. That's a really big deal in Portland.
Yes, it is.
If you're it is. And in Gresham, they have a 5-year local option levy for police, fire, and park services. So we'll be working with the League of Women Voters for East Multnomah County and Portland to kind of cover things that are going on, including candidate forums for the Multnomah County Chair and 2 Multnomah County Commissioner races.
And it's important to vote.
It's important to vote, and if you don't vote, you can't complain.
And that's why I vote. Because I want to.
Because you want to complain. And by golly, you do it well.
I do.
I think we have a voting video that was produced here at MetroEast. I think we should take a look at it because they might see some familiar faces in that video. So let's take a look.
Voting is a big deal and one of the most powerful things you can do. But deep down, people vote because...
I vote because it's my right and my responsibility.
Because if I want my voice to be heard, the first thing I must do is vote.
Because democracy only works if you participate.
I vote for more bike lanes.
For cleaner streams.
For more jobs.
For my family.
I vote to end wasteful government spending.
Because I want a say in where my tax dollars go.
Because of all the women who ensure my right to vote.
Because together we can do great things.
I vote because it's easy.
Because I did last year.
Because it's my civic duty.
And I vote because I can. Register, engage, vote. It's in your hands.
Did that convince you? Did that convince you to vote?
I'm already a voter,
Yeah,
but that was darn convincing, especially the young lady in the purple.
Yeah, she was great.
Just really nailed it there.
That was good. And that was produced here. We do a lot of interesting productions here, both volunteers and our staff. Another one that the staff has been working on is the Third Thursdays Studios program, and that's been kind of an interesting project. That's in association with the Center for the Performing Arts here in Gresham, and the last one was Portland Columbia Symphony Orchestra with Kenny Reagan was the composer. He's a senior at Grant High School.
Oh, wow.
And I interviewed him on a previous program here on Community Hotline.
And he's conducting.
He's conducting. He wrote the symphony. He didn't just conduct it. He wrote the symphony. It was pretty darn impressive.
me.
Yeah, it was.
That's
pretty darn
awesome.
impressive. So that's one of the really cool things that is going on around here. So what else do we have?
We've got, March coming up is Gambling Awareness Month. And we have one of our board members, Miguel Tellez, who is a part of Volunteers for America. And we partnered with Volunteers for America in producing 4 PSAs in English, Spanish, and Chinese.
Wow.
And we got to get the word out there about making folks aware of gambling.
It's a big problem, yeah.
And I wasn't aware of that until I had a conversation with Miguel one day. And so Volunteers of America is really doing a big campaign there to make the community aware about gambling. And we had Portland Youth Builders, young folks from Portland Youth Builders in Portland that actually produced radio PSAs for Gambling Awareness Month and our very own production crew here at MetroEast Community Media.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. We have some good partnerships. Speaking of productions, there's a documentary that's starting to be worked on to talk about our 30th that you mentioned earlier, our 30th anniversary. So we're going to be gathering footage and hitting our archives up. Isn't that right?
And that's going to be so much fun because 30 years of stuff. I was looking through photo albums from 1985. And
you born yet? Oh yeah.
I was.
Okay.
I was born in the late.
Okay.
And but I was going through photo albums from the 80s, and I recognize some of the volunteers that are there, that are here today
now. Yeah.
even.
People like it here. They don't leave.
No, they don't leave.
They do, and then they come back. That happens a lot too.
We really hit the jackpot here at MetroEast with all of our great volunteers, because we do have quite a few of them that are still here after all this time. So in honor of our 30th anniversary, our production team is putting together kind of a nice little documentary that we can show and have for our very own archive of just the 30 years of MetroEast.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So what else are we going to do to celebrate our 30th?
Oh my goodness.
Aren't you glad I asked?
Funny you asked that, Monica. We are doing our volunteer dinner, which we do every single year, where we recognize our volunteers for all the work that they've done. And it's actually going to be at a different location. Before, we've had it at Club Paisano, Cedarville Park.
Right.
This year, it's going to be at the Sam Cox Building in Glenaudo Park.
In Troutdale.
In Troutdale,
Down
yes,
on the
right
Sandy
on the
River.
Sandy River.
Very nice, very nice.
I know it's going to be so beautiful. It's going to be May 2nd.
Okay.
And
So
the
that's for
weather's
our
going to be
active
great.
volunteers,
That
their
is for our
families.
active volunteers and their families. We're going to get together, do some award giving, and
Maybe a
have
few
some
special
dinner,
ones.
some special awards. Oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
There'll be other stuff coming out throughout the year
Oh my
as well,
gosh,
right?
yeah. We've got our picnic that happens every year. That happens in August. And we are going to do another open house this year as well. And that will happen in September.
Great. Last
It
year's
was a lot of
really
fun. And this is going to be the 30th
And it
anniversary.
does happen to be on my birthday this year, so if you come to it, please bring presents.
I planned it especially for
yeah,
that.
Thanks. That's great. Now,
Anniversaries all around.
there are anniversaries all around, because besides our 30th, the MHCRC, which is
Yes.
the Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission, had their
Yes.
20th anniversary this year, and we were honored to be the hosts for that,
that was
celebration. It was really fun. We had a lot of people here. We had great food. It was a really fun event. And do you know what the MHCRC is all about? I mean, a lot of people I don't think know what that's about. See, this is the party going on. That was a good time there. This is when it was just starting to fill up. People were having drinks, eating some food. They had a great awards presentation going on there. We had a fun time, but and then they were taping it. So there's Emily, who is our director and co-producer of this show.
She's looking just like that right now.
Yes, she is. And then Lauren there will be on the show a little bit later today. So that's a couple of the MetroEast staff, and there they are in our control room. Taping the presentation ceremonies.
Absolutely.
But the Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission,
They're important. They play an important role.
They do play an important role, and cable companies use public right-of-way, which is like the sidewalks and the streets and all that, to produce for their cable businesses, and in exchange for that, they have to have a contract with government entities. So, one of the things that they have to do is provide. They have certain obligations, but to manage all that is a really big deal, and that's why the Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission was founded in 20 years ago. And so they work with Wood Village, Fairview, Troutdale, and Gresham, and without them, I don't think we'd still be here because they've been a huge help to us.
Yeah.
Oh, they do. They're wonderful advocates.
Advocates, yeah.
Yeah. And that's for and we provide PEG programming. So that's.
And what is PEG, Monica?
The P stands for public, and that would be our volunteers who produce shows. Just for us to put on the air, and anybody can do it. We'll teach them how to do it.
Yeah.
The E stands for
education.
Yay! So we have educational channels. That's mostly like distance learning at schools. So we broadcast into the schools, and then the G is for the government.
Of course.
Yeah, it's gavel to gavel coverage of all the meetings going on in these jurisdictions.
It's
really important. Yeah,
because you got to know what folks are talking about there. You don't want to just wake up one morning and go, wait, why is that?
Well, you got to know. You got to
know.
So inquiring minds want to know.
Yes, ma'am.
Another area of MetroEast here. Another area is our youth media program.
Yes.
So we've got that going on. The youth media
Get
program
Real program
is huge. Yeah, they call it the Get Real, and that's real. How's that real spelled?
REEL.
Yes, Get Real
like
program.
Like film reel.
Oh, very good. Oh, now I get it. Thanks.
So good. I'm so good.
Now they are doing something different right now. The staff is developing a little mini series to help teach kids how to play music.
Awesome. Yeah.
That's with the Tabor Grass Band.
Yeah.
Tabor Grass was featured on our Holiday Open Studio program. They were great. They were fun to work with. They're a bluegrass band and have so much energy. And they're doing a nine-part show where they're going to actually be playing and then showing people how to learn. So you can watch and kind of learn from home if you want to.
And they're actually going to have the sheet music up on green screen, and one of the guys is going to be pointing notes out.
That's going to be so fun.
I'm really excited to see how that looks. That's going to be so awesome.
The Get Real team works with a lot of school groups.
Yeah.
And with kids, all over, but they are doing some new things. Another one is they're working with the Creative Science School, and they're finishing nine new videos that are written and produced by some 5th graders.
They just don't do one.
No, we never stop at just one.
No, we never stop at just one.
Mr. Linder's class, props to them. At the Creative Science School, they have done these videos, and it's all environmental stuff, like about coral reefs and deserts and the Arctic and how climate change affects them.
Yeah.
So they will be coming up in a future community hotline show. We'll have some of those students on.
I think I saw a clip that our very own Peter G was working on.
Oh, is that right?
Really, it was really, really good.
Well, the kids have done a great job, I guess. So we'll see more about that in another show. Yeah. Okay. So what else do we have going on here?
Radio.
We have a radio station.
We have a radio station.
So
yes. So
tell us about that,
oh my
Taj.
gosh, what's going on at KZME? Well, first of all, KZME's schedule is filling up. I mean, it's at the point now where we're still getting a steady flow of new folks coming through the doors wanting to volunteer, and it's at the point where we can't even give out 2-hour time slots anymore.
Really?
Everything's
I
down
remember
to
when
1
you were
hour.
trying to,
Yeah.
Lots of time.
When we had a full schedule to fill, but we are at the point where it's like, hey, when you come in, you gotta go through the steps to become a volunteer, and
it's fun, isn't it?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and we actually have one of our host DJs here. She's going to be speaking with me later on the KZME segment.
Yay.
About all the good stuff going on there. But yeah, so KZME is just doing big things. We've got lots of events, lots of great media sponsorships happening, and we'll be talking about that in the next segment.
Well, then maybe we should take a break and come back and talk with, what's her name?
Eileen Smith.
Let's talk with Eileen in just a few minutes.
Sounds good.
All right.
My favorite thing about community media is how people find their voice and tell their story.
It's the message of, by, and for a community.
We're a gathering place because it gets people of all sorts of different backgrounds underneath one roof.
It's art, it's technology.
A snapshot of our community.
Going live.
In 3, 2, 1.
Have you ever wanted to create a TV show of your own? Come check out the basic editing class at MetroEast. Our trainers will give you the skills you need to flex your creative muscles. Using our state-of-the-art IMAX and Final Cut Pro 10, you can work with your own videos, add graphics and music, and even drop in cool special effects like green screen and slow motion. The best part? No experience is required. All ages and skill levels are welcome. Find out more on our website at metroeast.org.
KZME Radio is a new station that is committed to entertain, inspire, and connect our community through programming that celebrates local music, arts, and culture. It was created to put local music and local arts on local radio, and it is a vehicle for our creative community to gain exposure while also celebrating what the Portland metro area has to offer.
Hi, I'm Allie Wesley, and I love KZME because it's a great resource to find out about awesome music in our community. They have hip-hop and pop and chamber folk and pretty acoustic music, and they have everything that we have in Northwest. You should support KZME to support these local artists and the awesome music that you can find.
For more information on how to support and get involved with 1071 FM KZME Radio, see our website, www.1071fm.org. KZME Radio, music where you live.
Welcome back to the Pulse. If you forgot who I was, which I don't know how you could possibly, I'm Taj Middleton, Director of Volunteer Services, and Monica has released the room to me for a minute so that I might talk to Aline about KZME. Aline Smith, welcome to the Pulse.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for giving me my very own mug. I'm thrilled.
Yes.
Can I try it?
Oh,
Can I
yes,
take a
please
sip?
do. It's MetroEast's finest water.
That's good. Thank you.
So you are hostess of Stumptown Thumpdown.
Very good. You got it right.
I know. Well, you know, it's one of those things. Say it like 5 times fast.
Totally.
And
Well, you know, my name, you can't pronounce my name, so why should you be able to pronounce my show?
That's, you know, it's one of those simple names that are really hard for people for some reason. It's just so unique.
But you've got
That's
it down.
what that is. Good. But your show, Stumptown Thumpdown, airs on Thursday evenings from 8 to 10.
Correct.
On KZME Radio, 1071 FM.
Music where you live.
And so what kind of music do you play on Stumptown Thumpdown?
So basically, the only requirement for getting on my show is it has to be a Portland artist.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not concerned with the genre. I try to play a smattering from all the genres.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not from Portland, I'm not going to play you.
Oh, so you're like exclusive.
I'm cutthroat. I mean, I've heard some great stuff, and then I check the artist. I'm like, Vancouver, Corvallis,
Portland only. And on top of your hosting gig, because that's a lot of work, hosting a show and kind of producing it, setting up your interviews, getting your playlist together, but you're also the volunteer music director. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so that's a pretty fun gig. I've only been doing it for a few months now, but I'm really enjoying it. So basically, I am accepting the music submissions, reviewing them, kind of piecemealing them out to volunteer screeners to help us get through them, and then transferring them and uploading them into rotation. So I'm the one putting the new music in the system.
And you're taking over for James Deneen,
Correct.
who was our music director since we moved into that space.
Right.
How many are you just loading songs and songs and songs a week? There's a lot of music that comes through KZME.
For sure. And granted, James had some huge shoes to fill. So
He was like he's like, 500 songs today. And I'm like, how?
Yeah. Totally. I am not on the same pace as he was with uploading music, but you know, I try to get in anywhere from 10 to 20 new albums
Wow,
a
that's
week.
a lot.
Yeah.
That is a lot of music. And it always amazes me because there's always more coming in. And I'm like, really, is this all from Portland? Like, everybody must be making music here because you go into KZME and that new music bin is like overflowing.
Oh my gosh.
And there's stuff like waiting in the wings to be screened. I mean, there's so much music here.
It's insane. Yeah, I feel like when I walk into the station, oftentimes when I see the bin, I think of Chuck E. Cheese, the ball thing,
Yeah.
you know, like I could just be drowning in this
just dive in.
everywhere.
So in addition to music, I mean, KZME kind of just supports arts, period, in the community. And we partner with a lot of different groups by way of media sponsorships. So Triangle Productions, we're sponsoring their 2013-2014 season. And they've actually got a play starting, I want to say, March 3rd, I believe. But you can get all this information on KZME's website at 1071fm.org, and you click on that events button. But yeah, Triangle Productions, great playhouse. Alhambra Theater, Mississippi Studios, we sponsor one show there a month, I believe. And Portland Art Spark, which is a great kind of just meet and mingle for different artists and art collectives in the community. So there's a lot of things that KZME kind of has its hands in. And again, you know, if folks want to check those out, they can go to 1071fm.org. Click on that bloop. Events button. Exactly. Oh my God, we're totally finishing each other's sentences right now.
It's not like I never say that on air.
I know, right? It's been programmed. Denise has us programmed.
Oh yeah.
Also, KZME events. Always last Fridays at Ford Food and Drink. And Ford Food and Drink is where we also have some of our volunteer appreciation dinners, especially like after our fund drives and stuff.
Awesome.
But go hear some live music and just kind of hang out, support KZME. Second Saturdays at Kelly's Olympian also happens at is a KZME event. And that's Kelly's Olympian. And then we just also have our regular orientations.
Right, which are super exciting.
You came to orientation once,
I
so
know.
long ago. How long have you been on the air at this point?
Oh my gosh.
I feel like we had a summer together.
Yeah, I feel like it's been about a year now that I've been on the air.
That's crazy.
I know.
And as I was talking to Monica, the schedule is just, like Denise called me, she said, we can't do any more 2-hour time slots.
Yeah. It's
crazy.
insane.
Yeah.
There's so many new volunteers. The volunteers are just blowing up at the station, and it's awesome because they're bringing in a lot of new energy and ideas, and I love it.
Yeah. So you've been here for a year and going on a year. Like I said, I remember having a summer with you before. So we're coming up on your year anniversary here soon. So happy early anniversary. But for those folks out there that are like listening and they're like, oh my God, I want to get involved, they can come to orientations. We have orientations quarterly. So our next orientation is going to be April 10th at 7 p.m. And that's actually going to be here at the television station. Did you come to orientation at the television station? Or were you one of the few? That was when our orientations were smaller.
Yeah.
And we could all squeeze into the radio station.
Yeah.
But now we have to have them here at the television station because they're bigger, which is a great thing, great place to be in.
And do you mind if I add, just for anyone who might be interested, you know, even if they have no experience in radio, they should check it out, because the one thing that KZME is great at is training folks, even if it's from ground zero. Like, I came into this with zero experience. And it's a really unique opportunity.
And we do get a great mix of volunteers that did a little bit of college radio. Some of them are like overly seasoned, like James Deneen just kind of like was radio through and through. And then we have those in the middle, and everybody comes in with their different skill sets, and like you said, their different interests, and it just makes a nice little gumbo. It's like a pot of gumbo, all kinds of flavors and spices in there, just making the music on the air just pop. Always hear something new on KZME. That's why I love it. Something very important is coming up. 2 really big events coming up for KZME. The first one is happening in March, and that is Burgerville. And if you've ever been to a Burgerville night, KZME night at Burgerville, you know, that I usually take that moment to have my mocha shake and enjoy some great music. And March 21st, it's going to be from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And it's going to be Americana night. So that's going to be a nice evening of music. And part of the proceeds from all food sales will go to KZME Radio.
Absolutely. And it's one of those things that, in my opinion, helps to keep Portland weird. You know, I mean, where else can you walk into a fast food joint and there's a full band like rocking out?
They're just like right there with Scoot the Tables, and they're right there. When I told my dad that, he was like, what? I was like, yeah, like imagine walking into, you know, any fast food joint in LA and there's a band just rocking out. And that's what we're able to do at Burgerville. And it's a great chance to come out, and because everybody's got to eat, right? Come out, get yourself some food, listen to some music, and support KZME at the same time. So that's going to be March 21st from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., and that's Burgerville on Hawthorne.
You got it.
Yes. And then the last thing is our fund drive, and that happens April 21st through the 30th.
Is it already here?
It is. It's like we just finished one, right? But KZME, you know, you got to keep the lights on, right?
We need the money.
Yeah, so you've participated in Fund Drive before. Can you tell the public about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's, you know, it's our moment to come to the public and ask for support. You know, we're commercial-free community radio, nonprofit radio, so we need that community support. And I know a lot of times when we have a fund drive, we try to have specific goals that money can help us reach.
Yeah.
And so that's nice because it gives folks, you know, a real tangible thing to reach towards. And then of course, during Fund Drive, we have a generous donor who matches all of our gifts. And of course, then they're also tax deductible and all of that fun stuff.
Yeah,
but
it's like a win-win. Yeah.
It is. And it's a great time to give because any donation is magically doubled. So
yeah. Yeah, and so that's happening April 21st through the 30th. And you can, of course, anytime you want to, whether you wake up tonight or tomorrow morning at 3 a.m. and you want to give to KZME, please be my guest. But during the pledge drive or fund drive rather, between April 21st and the 30th, more than likely it is going to be matched. So if you donate at that time, it's going to be matched, and it is, of course, tax deductible. And all of that money goes to keeping the lights on, because as awesome as you are and as much as we want to pay you, we can't.
It's true.
It wouldn't be community public radio if we did.
That's right. So, I do it out of the goodness of my heart and because I love it.
And because you love it.
Totally.
So we are going to have to wrap this up. I could talk forever because I love KZME and I love music, and you're so fun to talk to. But so thank you so much for coming in, Aline.
Absolutely.
And when is your show? Stumptown, Thump Down?
Thursdays, 8 to 10 p.m.
on KZME Radio, 107.1 FM.
Music where you live.
What? You know what? On the television side of things, we are revamping our classes here, and we're just, well, you know, we did all of our HD upgrades, and with those upgrades comes new classes and all that kind of stuff. So we've actually got our own Peter G, who is going to kind of tell us what those classes are starting to look like. So we're going to cut to that clip here. So thank you so much again for coming in to talk with us.
Not a problem. It's my pleasure.
And we're going to go to that clip.
All right, Taj.
Hi there, I'm Peter G, and this is the training update. So we've made some changes here at MetroEast for 2014. For starters, Studio B has been upgraded to high definition. We now have a TriCaster computer in here, so you can run a show with as few as 2 people. Add some neat chroma key to your production, maybe even a live set, and walk out of the door with a finished Blu-ray copy of your show. We're also making changes to our training curriculum here at MetroEast. What used to be our basic studio class is now divided into 2 parts, basic camera and basic control room. So, basic camera is actually a really great way to start out learning. It is a skill that you can pick up fairly quickly in a shorter class and immediately start volunteering on other people's shows. Then, go through our basic control room class. You'll learn how to work behind the scenes in both Studio A and B, and be certified for both at the conclusion of that class. One more thing. We now have pocket-sized Kodak cameras in the equipment room for you to check out. All you need to do to get one is take our orientation class, which is free. These are high definition, they're very small form factor, so it's easy to take it to an event and not have to worry about lugging around a large professional camera. So check one out, you'll be hooked. For more training news, be sure to check out current blog posts on our website, MetroEast.org. You can also become a fan of our Facebook page or subscribe to our YouTube channel. In the meantime, thanks for watching Training Update.
What local community media is to us is literally our lifeline to what's going on in the lives around us.
The absolute most important thing that happens in your neighborhood.
People's local communities are usually what's most important to them.
Because we're the faces, the smiles, the peoples, and the personalities of the community.
To not only give people a voice, but to have their voice heard.
Hi, we're back in the studio with my good friend and coworker, Lauren Coulter. Thanks for being here, Lauren.
Hi, Monica.
That was fun listening to Taj and Elaine talk about KZME radio.
It's a hard act to follow.
They're very energetic. You know, Elaine was talking about how she had come on the radio station and had no experience whatsoever. And that's the same way with our TV station, isn't it? That we have people come in here who've never worked in media at all, and video, no background at all, but we teach them how to make their own television shows. And you've been involved in doing that for how long now?
Coming up on 25 years. You were just a child when I started working here.
Yeah, so. right. That's a long time. And a lot has changed in all that time. So one of the big things we've changed recently is our studios. Tell me a little bit about what's changed around here lately.
Well, it's interesting. It's been an interesting evolution in the time that I've been here, in that at first our mission was to provide people with access to equipment that they couldn't get their hands on, camcorders and so on. But now, of course, everybody has a camera on their phone.
Right.
So that's a little less unique. But one of the things that's a unique asset to the community that MetroEast can offer is our studios. Mm-hmm. In the building that we were in prior to this building, we actually had just one studio, a little smaller than this great facility that we're in now.
And that was out at Mount Hood Community College.
Out at Mount Hood Community College.
Yeah.
And when we were planning for this new building, we actually planned for not only enlarging our main studio, but also adding a second, smaller studio. With the hopes of being able to provide people different options for how complex their production is.
Right. So the studio we're in now is called Studio A. Mm-hmm. It's a very large studio, and we'll get to see a little bit of that. Usually people don't get to see the kind of behind the scenes things, but it's great. You can do a lot with this studio. But then we also have the Studio B, which is the smaller studio. Now this one was upgraded last summer to high definition.
Right.
And we just recently upgraded the Studio B, the smaller studio.
Right, and besides upgrading to high definition, we've also had to replace all of the equipment that was in the studios as well. So we've upgraded the capabilities of the various video switchers and audio equipment and other things that we have to really bring them up to state of the art.
Right, and it gives people a lot more options as to how they can produce their shows, right, and what they can do with them. I mean, the choices you have on how complex or how complicated you want to make it, they're kind of endless.
They are, and one of the things that we do often on these programs is talk about the studios, but people don't necessarily have much of an idea what they actually look like.
Right.
And so I tried to put together a little clip here to show some behind the scenes still images of the two studios, so that people have a better idea of the scale of them, the differences in the equipment, and so on.
So the difference between the big Studio A and the smaller Studio B.
Right.
So maybe we should take a look at that, and maybe you can tell us what we're looking at and go from there.
So again, the Studio B is the smaller of the two studios. People sometimes refer to it as the robotic studio, but you can see it's quite a small space. It's just 15 by 17 or so.
And interesting characters in there.
Yeah, they're a little spooky. Those are our kind of standard stand-ins for our workshops. The cameras, as you can see, are remote control cameras, and that gives you the ability to operate them from a little joystick in the adjacent control room that you can see behind the window there.
So you can have the talent in the Studio B, but it's no crew in there. They're in this control room there.
And then in the control room, you've got equipment stations for doing things like adding graphics to your program using the laptop computer. That's an audio mixing board to let you control the sound through the different microphones and sound equipment. That's the video control section. The primary piece of equipment in that is the switcher. That thing with all the buttons lets you select which of the 3 cameras in that case you move around. And then that's the controller for the 3 remote control cameras that are in Studio B. So you can see it's a fairly small space. Then on the other hand, we have our large studio that we're in now. Studio A is designed to allow you to do much more elaborate kind of productions. So it's actually 40 by 40. It's a pretty big room and you can do almost anything in here. The cameras also are different in that they're not remote control cameras. They actually have an operator at each camera zooming and focusing and doing all of those kinds of different camera operations that you can do remotely in Studio B. The control room is also substantially bigger in Studio A than in Studio B. The equipment is very much the same. It's just a little bit more complex, typically a little larger, so that audio mixer is 3 times the size of the one in Studio B. A little more complex device for controlling the lights in Studio A. There are 4 cameras in Studio A compared to the 3 in Studio B, and then a somewhat larger, more complex switcher that has some additional bells and whistles, but also more camera inputs and other kinds of some bells and whistles that you don't find on the equipment over in Studio B.
It's pretty high tech.
It is, and the studios are capable of doing both recorded productions to be broadcast later and then also live productions, which gives you the capability of inviting the viewers to call in and ask questions and make comments and participate in the program.
So why would somebody choose one studio over the other? What are the differences as far, I mean, obviously one is smaller, one is bigger, one is more complicated, but what other reasons would somebody choose one studio over another?
As we were planning for the new building, one of the comments that we heard from producers relatively often was that a Studio A production provides a lot more space than I sometimes need. If what we want to do is a sort of a, just 2 people chatting in a table style program, we don't necessarily need 1,600 square feet to make that happen. And then also because of the way that the cameras require an operator in a full-size studio like this, you need a pretty large crew. So part of your job as the producer is to recruit people who've taken our classes and are certified and trained to use the equipment. And that can be as many as 8 or 10 people for a Studio A production if you're going to have operators for each piece of equipment in the facility. So Studio B enables you to produce a full-on studio multi-camera production similar to what you'd see in Studio A, but with as few as 2 crew people. And what makes that possible is those remote control cameras you saw. You can have one person operating all 3 cameras simultaneously, and because the switcher over there is a little less complex than its Studio A counterpart, you can have one person doing 2 jobs, switching the program and running the cameras simultaneously. And then the other person doing things like controlling the sound and adding graphics.
You said something about that kind of studio could handle like a little talk show format, kind of like this. What other kinds of shows have people done in this small studio?
There have been some music productions over there.
Like a singer-songwriter with his guitar kind of thing?
Yeah, a duet or a trio maybe, but if you get much beyond that, it gets pretty hard to squeeze them in to that small studio space. So we sometimes just wind up counseling people about, is this an appropriate Studio B production? Also in here you have much more flexibility to do things like this nice set that you see behind us.
Right, because we don't need a lot of room here, but we wouldn't have room for this big set.
Right, so Studio B is more limited in the kinds of productions that you can do there, but it also reduces the number of crew that you are required to get to do the production, as well as the time that it takes. Setting up in this studio is typically going to take you an hour or 2 of setup before you ever shoot the program, and then a little bit of time to clean up afterwards. So you can do it in half that time in Studio B.
I remember there was a show that was in Studio B with a young girl, I think she might have been about 12 or so, who read books. She picked out books that she liked, that she wanted to share with other kids, and she read them, and her parents actually produced it. Do you remember that? It was almost like a reading rainbow kind of thing, and it was perfect for the Studio B. You know, yeah, so that was a good one. Although now with some of the changes we have, it would be even more fun with that new TriCaster that we have. So, and then in this studio, we could do like our holiday program that we have, Holiday Open Studio. Oh my gosh, we could never do it in the small studio, but we had sometimes up to almost 100 kids in here.
Right.
Choirs singing and the set decorated, and it was great. We've had plays performed in here.
Dance troops.
Dance troops, jugglers.
Yep.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff.
In the past, and even in our smaller studio, we had people bringing automobiles into the studio.
Because they can drive them right in through the back doors, right?
So you can really do just about anything in a space this large.
Yeah, it's a pretty good opportunity. So now there's what else? Now you said there were changes in the way that in the actual equipment itself, besides being high def. So there's some changes made like to the switcher and everything. What other kinds of things do we have going on?
Well, I think one of the most important changes is in both studios we now have a video production system that's called a TriCaster. Studio A has the large version of that, and Studio B has the smaller version of that.
So what's different about that?
Primarily what's different about it is just that it's a complete production system in that all of the recording capability, all of the ability to roll in pre-produced videos for your audience to watch are all within the same system now.
So that makes it simpler, easier.
Right, simpler.
Yeah.
It's completely tapeless now. We've banished videotape from the facility completely at this point.
I heard some talk about something called virtual sets.
Yeah, and that's one of the very cool parts of both Studio A and Studio B is that Studio B has traditionally been what people thought of as being the sort of lower quality productions because of the limited space. But now, because of this thing called virtual sets and the ability of Studio B to do a green screen or chroma key kind of an effect, you now can create the illusion of being in a really enormous studio in Studio B. So it gives people one more reason to want to move their productions to the smaller studio besides the ease of use.
That sounds like fun. I think we had a little video that we did, just a little short one, just to kind of give people an idea of what that looks like. So maybe we could take a look at that.
Hey there, Monica. Welcome to the newly revamped Studio B at MetroEast.
Thanks, Peter. It's good to be here. You know, I understand MetroEast has fully upgraded the whole facility, and Studio B is the last one to be upgraded. And now all the productions are going to be crystal clear in high definition. Pretty cool.
That's right. Yeah, these HD cameras are really neat because they're remotely controlled from the control room.
So what does that mean? That means the crew isn't in here?
That's right. So the crew is behind the glass there, and they can use these little joysticks to move the camera left, right, up, and down. So it's a new way to direct, and it's a lot of fun.
And you don't need as much crew, right?
Right. You can have 2 people in there if you want.
That's right. That's cool. And what about this? What's this here? The green wall.
Right, so this is a green screen. We can actually, in the computer, take the green away and replace it with whatever photo we want, video, or even what's called a virtual set.
Now, I've heard of that. What is a virtual set, Peter?
Well, it's taking the talent and just teleporting them somewhere new, somewhere outside of the studio.
You're going to have to give me a better example than that.
Why don't we go there ourselves?
Okay.
I've got my portable teleporter here.
All right.
So let me program in some coordinates, and it looks like we're set to go in 3, 2, 1. Whoa. Look at that.
This is weird.
That's kind of neat.
Wow, I like this.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, let's look at another one.
You got another one?
Yep.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Oh, even better. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
And our crew, our producers are going to love this.
Absolutely.
Nice. Do one more, okay?
One more? All right. All right.
One more.
In 3, 2, 1, and go.
Ooh.
Whoa, what is that? Oh, no, we need to get out. We need to get out now. Go, 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 go. Let us out. Let us out.
Oh, wow. Oh, this is better. We're back in Studio B again.
That's right. Well, you know, volunteers can call us, and if they want to sign up for classes, they can do so and learn how to use great equipment like this in Studio B.
Nice. They can be part of a crew. They can produce their own shows, email, website, or on the phone.
Yeah.
Great. We'll see you there.
See you there.
Who were are those people? It says to call about classes. So have the classes changed since the studios changed?
They have. By having the TriCaster system in both Studio A and Studio B, it's enabled us to do our classes a little bit differently, where once we had a separate track of classes for Studio A and a separate class or a separate track for Studio B, because the equipment was so different, we've now combined them. So typically someone wanting to get studio certified now would first take our short orientation class, which we do twice a month. Then they would start by taking a class to learn how to run these studio cameras, and it's just a short 2-hour class to learn some basics of camera operation, the technology as well as some principles of composition and so on. And then we've now combined our Studio A and Studio B training into what we're calling the Studio Control Room class.
Okay.
And that spends one evening in the Studio B control room and one evening in the Studio A control room. Because the two systems are now so similar, it just amounts to being some basic training and then reiterating that in the second part of the class.
So once they've taken that, they could work in either studio and the control room.
Right.
That's great.
And they could volunteer to, be crew on great shows
Yeah,
like this
we
one.
have great volunteers here today working on our show. So great. So now we do this and we put these shows on cable television. There are other ways that people can watch our shows. Tell me a little bit about how else people can watch MetroEast Productions.
Well, we've spent the last 30 years broadcasting the programs that people make on our various cable TV channels on Comcast Cable and Frontier Cable. But these days, people expect more and more often to be able to, see videos when they want to see them and where they want to see them, instead of only when we schedule them to be broadcast on cable TV. And so one of the ways that people expect to be able to see that is video on demand. Many people haven't explored, if you're a Comcast cable customer, that button on your remote control that says video on demand. MetroEast is now a part of that, and we're able to upload some of the programs that are produced here for people to view whenever they want to, like this one.
Like this one. So if you want to see it again and again,
Right, and so if you've never experimented with your video on demand before, I've put together a little tour to kind of just show you quickly what it would look like to access your favorite Community Hotline episode on video on demand.
Well, let's listen to the professional trainer here and show us how it's done.
So Comcast Cable operates their video on demand system, and we have 13 hours a month. So if you're at home watching your favorite MetroEast program, say on channel 321, and you want to look at some other program, you can push that video on demand button on your remote or punch up channel 001. And then you just want to use your remote to scroll down through the various different options they have there to find the button that says Get Local. Sometimes it's a little hard to find, but once you select that, then you'll also want to scroll down to the one that says MetroEast Media. Once you're there, you'll see a list of the programs that we have currently available on the system. And there's Community Hotline and episodes of our music programs, sports programs. If you're not familiar with a particular episode of a show, you can always just click on it, and it'll show you a little bit more in detail description of what that program is about. And then you can either watch that or you can exit back to the menu and locate the program that you want, and then just push the play button. After a few moments of loading, you'll see your favorite program come up on the screen. The beauty of it for things like this is that you can start and stop them, watch them when you want, pause the program to go raid the fridge, watch your interview with Taj over and over and over, as many times as you might want. So Comcast on Demand is a great way for people to be able to access our programs anytime they want. And again, because the number of hours of available program time is limited, what you see there is not an extensive list of the programs that we do, but we are upgrading it pretty continually.
Good. So keep watching. And all those shows that were there are things we've talked about tonight. So I know people have listened to us and they want to know what those shows were all about. So the third Thursdays of basketball.
It also makes me feel good to have remote control near me at all times.
Well, I'm sure it does. Yeah, I wouldn't want you to be uncomfortable here, Lauren. So how else? Is there another way that you can watch besides that?
There is. Not everybody, of course, has cable or lives in the area that we serve here and is able to get our programming. So, and people are expecting, more and more often to be able to watch the videos that they want on various different devices, their phone or on their computer. And so we've recently begun uploading video to a service that's called Cloudcast.
Okay.
And the Cloudcast system basically will eventually contain our entire library of programming.
So not just staff productions?
Not just staff productions and not just 10 or 13 hours at a time, but virtually everything that's submitted to our playback department to be broadcast on our channel.
Do you have any idea how many hours of program that would be?
Yeah, there's easily between 15 and 20 new programming hours every week submitted to our playback department.
So it'll be kind of unlimited.
Right, and most of that is going up. And so I put together another little tour
You're good at that.
to show people how to access the Cloudcast system.
Okay, I'd like to see
I'll
that.
give you some pointers on that. So Cloudcast, again, is available any place where you have internet access on any device. So say that you're at home, perusing your favorite website there. If you'll just click into the address window at the top bar up there, and the address that you want to type in is MetroEast, and that's all one word, and .peg,
for
and
public education and government,
and then .tv, so MetroEast.peg TV, and then return will take you to this video player. It looks a lot like other internet video players you may have used on YouTube and places like that, but it's just MetroEast programming.
So that's your playlist on the right there?
Right, and there's a huge library of programming there, so there's a few ways you can find a program that you're interested in. One is to use that search bar at the top of the upper right of the window there and type in the name of your favorite program.
Okay.
And it'll show you a list of all of the different episodes of that program that exist on the system. Usually in kind of the order in which they're recorded, or there's also playlists, which are different categories of programming, and that includes community-produced programs, programs produced by all of the different volunteer producers we have.
Okay.
We've broken them out into A through D and E through H and categories like that to make it a little easier to find them.
Oh.
So if you're looking for your favorite episode of the Body Smith workout, there's an entire collection of those videos up there already.
Right. From a man who's been a producer here for 25
years. Yeah. There's also a live tab. We don't have this working yet, but soon there'll be all of our channels streaming live, all 6 of our channels, so you'll be able to watch our channels as well. There's also school board meetings. We cover the Gresham Barlow School District board meetings as well as the Reynolds School District meetings, and so those will all be up there. The municipal meetings we cover, like the Gresham City Council, Fairview City Council, Troutdale City Council, Multnomah County Commission, and then various other public meetings like the Rockwood Water District and Planning Commission hearings and so on. Our fabulous holiday open studio program that we do.
Which is a really fun show.
Yeah, lots of great music and things there. Our education programs by our education staff. And then programs produced by MetroEast staff, including, again, the Community Hotline program, forums that we do with the League of Women Voters and other groups, sports, like recently we've done Mount Hood Conference basketball, music programs. So there's lots and lots of different programs there, growing all the time.
That's
so
great.
say that you choose a video that you want to look at, you can just highlight it on the list and it'll appear in the little viewer window on the side over there. And then it'll take a few moments to load, but once it does, you can do a couple of things, like you can resize the window by clicking the little resize button in the corner there to make it a little bit bigger on your screen. And then you can also share the video with your friends in a couple of ways. So if you click on that share button, there's a couple of lines of text there. One says embed code, and that gives you the ability to embed this video in a website. So you can make it, playback on your own particular website if you want to. And then there's also the capability of sharing by sending an email link to your friends to let them know about a video you found that you really like. So you can copy that text information and then go into your email system and just copy and paste that line of text, and that'll give people an easy link to go enjoy the videos that are on the system as well.
Great. You put it on your Facebook page. I've done that with the community hotline shows, and it's easy, huh? It's really easy.
Pretty easy.
So we've really made a lot of changes here. You're talking about, you've been here, what, how long you say, 25 years?
25 years.
Yeah, so there's been a whole lot of changes. I appreciate you giving us all this information, so I hope people will be paying attention and trying to check it out. And I hope that maybe that'll bring in more producers now that they know that their shows will not only be shown on cable TV, but they'll be shown, I mean, it's virtually everywhere. Really.
Right, the distribution is just enormous now compared to what's been possible in the past.
Right, that's pretty impressive. Great. Well, thanks so much, Lauren. Anything else you need to add before I let you go?
Well, we offer new workshops all the time. We'll be offering a new schedule of March workshops here in the next few days. People can go to metroeast.org and see the current listing of classes. They're very user-friendly, pretty non-threatening, very non-technical. We're confident that, you know, even if you're one of those people who doesn't know how to use one of these, we can teach you how to use this great studio and our cameras and editing facilities.
And make it very affordable. Anybody can do it. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks very much. And thanks for joining us for this special edition of Community Hotline called The Pulse. We're glad you joined us today. We will see you here with this edition of The Pulse in about 3 months. In the meantime, have a good week, and we'll catch you next time.
What local community media is to us is literally our lifeline to what's going on in the lives around us.
The absolute most important thing that happens in your neighborhood.
People's local communities are usually what's most important to them.
Because we're the faces, the smiles, the peoples, and the personalities of the community.
To not only give people a voice, but to have their voice heard.